What's going on? Whiskey Wednesday night. Mash and Drum. What is up, everybody? Welcome in this Whiskey Wednesday night. Hope everyone is in for this is going to be a fun show tonight because not only do we have two blind tastings. One is a budget blind tasting that I've been wanting to do for a little while now, especially with the end of the year videos, all the talk of, all the allocated stuff that make it on these lists. It's good to kind of go back and see some of the ones that are available, or more available, I should say. You can't really say everything's available these days. I don't think you really say that anymore. But yeah, I was really excited to put together this blind tasting. It has some of like my old favorite budget bourbons that I like to gear towards, and some of the new ones that I discovered this year. Plus, we have a little bit of a wild card in there with the early times, because the early times, which normally does really, really well in blinds, this is now the new, early time / Barton / Sazerac, whatever you want to call it, version. And I do think it tastes different, and a lot of people have been saying that. So I want to see how it does in this blind as well. And then to kind of top that all off at the end of the night, towards the end of the night, we have Big Vic Energy, my buddy Big Vic in the chat. He sent me a blind sample set to do. He sent me the key, but I haven't looked at it. I've got to look at it, when we finish everything up. But I'm gonna try to guess what things are, so I could see how wrong I am. So that'll be fun. And we'll go into my 2023 whiskey predictions. We'll talk a little bit of news, especially about the new distribution model for Buffalo Trace. Switching up. I'm gonna break that down a little bit for you guys. Tell you what it means. For everyone, doesn't really mean much. It might mean a lot more for Sazerac, though. Some other whiskey news tidbits, and yeah, that's going to be the night. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let me say hi to all you here in the chat. Cheers, whiskey friends. There's a lot of people coming in here. Been a while since I made a lot. Oh, Trevor Kunkel's in the house. Trev, man, you're right on time. Do you remember those barrel picks we did like in January of last year? The Rebel and the Ezra. Well, they finally came in, so I'm gonna need those stickers of you, buddy. Let's see here. Mark Mace, Jeff Perkins, Emily. How you doing, Emily? Nice to see you. As always, Paul Madden's here. Brandy and Jason are here. Black Bourbon family. Raise your drinks up casually. Every time I see them, I gotta sing that song. Joe, the sample guy's in the house. Rebecca Page. How are you, Rebecca? Let's see here. Saucy Shane. Dunny's in the house. Dan S is here. New bottle, same whiskey for another year. New bottle, same whiskey for another year. Oh, it says Dan S. Yes. Same whiskey for another year until it gets to all Barton for the early times. But, I mean, I think they're doing something weird with it. I'm not sure, but I don't think anybody really knows. I don't know if it's just people's minds mess with them, but we see. Jason, I'm patiently waiting to tell you, but was fortunate enough to be able to pick up a bottle of George C. Stagg, terrified to open it. David Holden, you open that shit immediately, and you taste it, and you enjoy it, and you love it. Just drink it moderately. Try not to kill it all in one night. But congrats, man. That's awesome that you got that bottle. Hell yeah, man. Hey, Mike Catalano Jr.'s here. Maybe Eagle Rare will be easier to get. Is it me or the lights different? Yeah, so I kind of mentioned I have new lighting, new backlighting, and we got to remember all the Christmas lights are gone. All the Christmas lights are now exited the building, so a little bit different tonight. I like these lights. They're a little bit brighter up close. It's kind of like a parabolic light going on here, so it looks pretty nice. Let's see. Hey, Jason, are these bottles brought back from the Louisville trip? No, these are not brought back from the Louisville trip at all. These are actually the early times I did get in the trip because I couldn't find the newer one here in Ohio. So I went and grabbed, at least near me. I'm sure it's around here somewhere, but I did get that one in Bardstown when I was there for sure. Let's see here. Kyle W's in the house. Good evening, Jason. Keep up the great content. Thanks you so much, Kyle. First super chat of the night. I just kicked some bottles down there. Yeah, guys, I'm this close to hitting 75,000 subs, which would be a big deal for the channel. Really can't thank you guys enough for all the support. I'm hoping to catch up to the junkies, the bourbon junkies, Dan and Sean. Congrats to them. They hit 100,000 yesterday. Did a big celebration. I'm hoping to get there by the end of the year. We'll see what happens, but for sure. Yeah, no more Grinch. No more Grinch. Yeah, the background and bottles are not lit well. Yeah, because more of the focus is right here on this area. So, so yeah, we have a few new bottles here that I picked that I got. The Newfound North is here. Might get into that a little bit. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff. Let's see here. The Bourbon Judge is here. Mark J. Bauer says, Jason, love your show. Thanks so much, Mark. Appreciate that, bud. From Texas, love the channel. Thank you so much, Horatio. Trading a Stag Junior, I have 3 for Trading a Stag Junior. I have 3 of for a Wild Turkey 12-year foreign exclusive. Feel free to tell me I'm dumb, but I tried the turkey and it smells like God's tears. Yeah, Aiden, you're that's a good trade, man. That 12 year is delicious. You'll hit 100K. Yeah, hopefully, we'll see. Jason, it's your show. We will enjoy no matter what. All right. So I'm gonna, since I have 2 blinds tonight, I'm gonna dive into this pretty quickly here. Oh, thanks so much, David. Again, another super chat here from David. Congrats on the channel. Go up to 75K. You're my go-to bourbon channel. Absolutely. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. All right. So let's get into the blind. And these are the bottles cheers on 750,000 subs. Yes. This is the blind I have here. I picked, these are kind of some new ones. Let's go with my old favorites first. I have Early Times, even though this is a newer bottling. Of course, Wild Turkey 101. And of course, Cooper's Craft. So, all right. So these are my 3 kind of go-to favorites that I usually drink a lot of. When I'm just kind of, tooling around the house, I don't really know what to drink. I'm usually pouring one of these. Now, I will say that Wild Turkey 101, the newer bottlings, I think have gotten a little bit sweeter, a little bit softer. It's missing a little bit more of that spice that I'm used to with Wild Turkey, which is, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not that I don't, it's not that I don't still appreciate Wild Turkey 101, but I do miss that spice that it had. Happy Wednesday, Jason. Got my 2 bottles of your Starlight picks a couple weeks ago. Applejack bottle had a chunk of the bottom busted off of the cork. Of the cork? Or the actual glass, John. That's crazy. Yeah, it's on autofocus. So I put these bottles in front of me, and then all of a sudden the focus changes. But here you go. So I have those. And then I'm going to put those up against a couple of new favorites that I have that I kind of discovered this year. And one is a bottle I just did recently of a review of. Wade Ward, yeah, he did. I think he kind of talked about that for a little bit. The Jim Beam single barrel, which I did a recent review of for What's on the Shelf Wednesday. This thing really surprised the hell out of me. 108 proof. Non-chill filtered. Somebody told me it's like a baby Booker's. So I figured, okay, that's a little bit hard for me to believe, but you can make an argument depending on the bottle of Booker's. I'm not saying all Booker's, but those real peanut heavy Booker's, this could get somewhat close to that profile. Benchmark Bonded is another. Out of that whole lineup of Benchmark, I kind of prefer the Bonded and the single barrel, I think, the most. The full proof, I do like, but it definitely can drink hot. It's a more younger, obviously, they're all young bourbons. So it could get into that kind of a, just a little bit of a higher, tingling, hot range of flavors on that full proof. But I mean, it opens up a little bit and it gets down the bottle. It definitely gets a little bit more palatable. But I really like this Bonded one. I think it's kind of like the perfect proof for it. And then I saw somebody mention Green River in the chat. And this isn't Green River, but it's the same distillery, and that's Wheelhorse. Wheelhorse Bourbon. This is 101 proof, goes right up against Wild Turkey, 101. This is an absolutely fantastic budget bourbon to get. And again, distilled at Green River. It's about $30-ish. Nice budget bottle. I mean, I'm a little scared to see how well this does tonight because it could take out the Wild Turkey 101. You never know. I mean, it doesn't matter who wins. I'm still going to drink the shit out of Wild Turkey 101. But Green River really does a lot of great whiskey. They do a high rye mash bill. This is the Wheel Horse. Absolutely love this one. So yeah, let's get into it here. So I have all 6 poured blind here. Okay. I'm just going to mix these up a little bit just for fun. And then while we're kind of going through these, I'll go into a few news stories here. I'll also get into, again, the Sazerac change up in the distribution model. I'll kind of break all that down for you, what it's going to mean. Some people have been asking me a lot of questions about it, so I figured let's do it. So let's see here. Hey, Bourbon Bill's in the house. Beyond the Row is here. What's going on, guys? Nice to see you. Richie Z, the legend, is here. Let's see here. Go Green River. Wheel Horse is definitely tasty. Yeah, I like all of these. Howdy Whiskey. I do have that one. That one's on tap for next week, buddy. I will do those too. Let's see. Whiskey Mountains, the Jim Beam Single Barrel 108 is a must find. Yeah, Whiskey Mountains would love this one because it really does fall right into that Jim Beam profile that she loves. So, all right. Let's go here to the first one. I mean, all of these should be pretty. I mean, I'm not going to really go into the noses here too much. I'm really curious to see what these do on the palate. Oh, this one has a really nice nose. Let's go to 3. Yeah, guys, I'm diving right in here tonight. Where's the Ancient Age 10? Says Andrew Clark. It's actually not a bad bottle to go, but that one isn't really easily available, I think, for a lot of people. But I could see that being in the mix. Hey, what's up, Griff? Nice to see you, man. Oh, the nose on number 4. Digging that one. Go to 5. This is extremely citrusy here. And the last one. Ooh, this one might have the most oak presence. Oh, okay. So far in the noses, I'm kind of digging the last one. And I think it was this one. Number 4 had a really nice nose to it. Let's see here. Stinks that we can't get Cooper's Craft in Michigan. Yeah, it's still crazy that Cooper's Craft, it's a Brown-Forman product, isn't still readily available in most areas. It's just not. It boggles my mind sometimes. Even though I've noticed that Jim Beam Single Barrel, I've been curious. It's good. I mean, if you like just the standard Jim Beam profile, it's a nice whiskey. I mean, it's really nice bourbon. It's got a lot of spice, good proof. It's non-chill filtered. It's got everything you want from a Jim Beam product. A little bit more amped up peanut, I think, at least in my single barrel. Now, single barrels, you know, they change from barrel to barrel, obviously. But the one I have is kind of something you would expect typically from Jim Beam, which is something a little bit more peanut forward. Let's see here. With the prices continuing to rise, the good budget bourbons have to be considered. Cooper's Craft that I had was really good. Yeah, Richard, I totally agree, which is kind of why I always like to do this in the beginning of each and every year, kind of reintroduce myself to some of the favorites and more of the bourbons that people can actually find. Because I think they're getting more and more important each and every year as the market just gets saturated with new brands, new blends, $100, $120 price points, it seems, each and every week. So, Black Bourbon Favorites is still not Chicago. Are you serious? William Brandt says, picked up the Mash and Journey 4-Gate from Sealbox. Oh, William, you like that one, right? That William, dude. That 4-Gate rye that we picked, it's a 9-year cask strength rye whiskey, toasted. It's cask strength MGP. I think there's still a few left on Sealbox. If nobody, it's pricey. It's like a $220 bottle, but man, it is so good. All right, let's try the first one. Cheers. Let me know what you guys are drinking in the chat. Are you drinking something budget with me? Or are you guys drinking something like my buddy here that said he got the bottle of Stag, who might be opening that right now? All right, guys, cheers. I mean, that's as solid as they come. Good proof, good viscosity to it. Damn. Jason Barr is releasing Blanton straight from the barrel, Parker's double, and JD single malt. What would be reasonable per pour? That's a good question. Oh, that's right. WJK actually had the 4-gate bourbon, which is pretty cool, which was amazing. Per pour, I don't know. Bland straight from the barrel. I mean, if it's your first time, I would pay maybe up to $40 to try that one. The Parker's double from this year, yeah, 30 to 40. JD single malt, I don't know. I feel like that one shouldn't be more than like $20 because it's a Jack Daniel's single malt, and single malts are usually a little bit, you know, you never know how people are going to react to an American single malt, to be honest. So, Rockstar again tonight for Tyler Smith. Keep going back to it, dude. It's a hitter of a pick. Calumet 16, drinking the 4-gate myself, says Jared W. Drinking Old Forester 1910, really good. Traverse City Barrel Proof Rye, local store pick in my Glen, says Trevor. Barlett, I'm closer to Peoria. Drinking Stellum Bourbon, cheers all, says Bob Hilka. Nice to see you, man. Eric Gunderson is here. I just poured an Old Forester Barrel Proof Rye that I was saving for when I lost 50 pounds. I lost it and it's delicious. Dude, congrats on losing the weight. 50 pounds, that's a big deal, dude. You enjoyed the shit out of that rye. Let's try this one again. Sweet, little bit of spice, citrus, kind of a cotton candy thing going on in the first one, which I like. Yeah, the Driftless Glen picks, our 3 Driftless Glen picks are releasing Friday. We have 3 different ones, all new donuts. I saw somebody write on Facebook, they're like, are these flavored like donuts? I'm like, no, it's just kind of the flavors we were getting. So, Lionel G, best of Mash and Journey barrel picks video. So Lionel, I kind of did that on my on Patreon. I kind of did a flight. I had everybody vote and like kind of vote what their favorite barrel pick was from last year. And we did a blind tasting, and mine was the Houdini from Nashville Barrel Company, and Scott's was the Four Roses OESK 10-year, 2-month-old pick we did. So, all right, second one here. A little bit nicer on the nose. Yeah, 3 picks. Yeah, so one of them's a short barrel. One of them's a short barrel island. So not a short barrel. It was a smaller. It was a 30-gallon rye, and that one we called Blood Orange Brownie because it literally has this rich, like some of the most dense chocolate orange notes I've ever had in a rye. It's crazy good. All right, let's try this one. This one's a little bit more tame than the first one. I kind of like a little bit more of the heft that the first one has. This one is drinking real easy. And all these are around 100 proof. 100-ish. I think the highest proof one is actually the 108 proof Beam. JC Marasegan, thoughts on the OBSK recipe? OBSK and OESK are my 2 top recipes for Four Roses picks. So I can also do an OBSV or an OESV. Every now and again, I like a good F. That sounds fun. I like a good F. Some of the Fs can be really good too. I think that the most struggles I've had are the O's, like OBSO or OESO. Those generally, I haven't had like a really good one quite yet. So, Osito Frita says, time for blind budget Japanese whiskey. That's kind of a good idea. Hey, what's up, Kara? Nice to see you. We have 420-something people in the chat. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hit that like button. All right, let's get into a couple news stories here as I'm moving through these. And, one of them, One quick one that I just want to mention here is this quick news story. And you guys are like, what the hell is that? That is a historic rick house that has been purchased by Barrel Craft Spirits. So Barrel Craft Spirits announced the purchase of a historic rick house in Shively, Kentucky. This is a 5-story, 89,000 square foot rick house, which can house more than 17,500 barrels, which I think Barrel Craft Spirits needs. They need a lot of storage, given the increased demand for their line of whiskeys and blends and rums that they have. This warehouse actually belonged to Angel's Envy. So Angel's Envy sold in that warehouse. So it looks like Barrel Craft Spirits, with all their blends and everything they're getting in to create all these crazy whiskeys, the Stellum Blacks, the Barrel Craft Spirits, and you have the blends like Armida and Seagrass and Dovetail and everything else that's to come from them. I think they needed the space. So this was kind of their, I think this is something they needed. And the fact that they'll be aging some of this stuff right there in Kentucky and Shively, I think will be pretty cool. So I don't think they have any. I don't think they have any. Oh, Benny's had a really good OESO 11 year, came out 2 years ago. 2 years ago, out of your whiskey. Oh man, rant somewhere during the news. I'll rant a little bit during the whole Buffalo Trace thing because there's a lot of stuff coming out that people are saying that all of a sudden all this shit's going to be available on the shelf now. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second here. Lisa Wicker, I don't know if you guys know who she is, but Lisa Wicker originally, she was running things at Widow Jane, and now she was hired by Lyons Brewing and Distilling Company. They hired her as a CEO, so they announced that she's going to be the new, actually the company's first CEO. Lisa's early interest in beverage began on an Indiana vineyard. She came from wine. Then she progressively held roles in distilling and management at Limestone Branch, Starlight, and preservation in Bardstown. So she's pretty well known for what she did at Widow Jane. And it looks like when Widow Jane got sold, it looks like she is now going to be at this Lyons Brewing and Distilling. I have met Lisa Wicker, and she is one of the nicest, most just genuine people you'll ever meet, as most people have been that I've met in whiskey. So congrats to Lisa. I wish her all the best. I'm sure whatever comes out of there down the line is going to be delicious. So let's see here. Anyone else love Fiddler's Georgia Heartwood? Yes, Jar Kai 1. I love what ASW is doing. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get into this, Kenneth, in a little bit here. Let me go to the third dram here. So I think I like the first one over the second one. Now the third one, I think I like over maybe the first one here, just on the nose. Yeah. Oh, the nose is nice on this one. Let's try it. This is a little bit darker and richer, heavy caramel. I wonder if it's an older whiskey in that glass, because that one's really nice. Yeah, this has it's a more darker. I don't think that's a thing. It's a darker profile. Gives you kind of everything you need, everything you want when it comes to the vanilla extract, the caramel, little hint of chocolate there. Kind of sneaks in like this little dark fruit flavor. We'll try to figure out what that is. Hey, what's up, Griff, with a $5 super chat? Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, Trevor Kunkel was actually with us when we met her. She was amazing. Yeah, she's in charge of. Yeah, she has her hand in quite a few operations, but I think she's really good at building teams. She's really good at putting together a staff, getting everything in order. So she's just gonna thrive wherever she goes, to be honest. Where do you source all these awesome t-shirts? Each distiller's website. So Hughes actually sent me this shirt because we did a single barrel pick with them. Hughes is a sourcer. They're doing some great rye whiskeys. They're putting their own kind of twist on it a little bit. And the stuff that I've had has been incredible. Ours is actually right here. So it's called the Hughes Belle of Bedford. Look at that. Look at that beautiful label, guys. Look at that. This is old school. This is a 10-year rye whiskey. If you guys have not checked out Hughes yet, please do. This is 111.9 proof. This is a 10-year MGP rye, and I mean one of my favorite rye whiskeys that we've ever selected. Even right up there with the Foregate, maybe even beyond the Foregate, just based on its just how different and unique it is. But here it gives you all the, look how transparent it is, all the details that you would want to know. They give you right here on the side of the label. I mean, everything from mash bill, age, barrel, everything. And if there's anything that we need more of in today's whiskey game, it's transparency. So, yeah, absolutely awesome. Love it. Mike, you're afraid of ryes. Really, Mike? Why? Why are you afraid of ryes, man? You just scared of them? You have ryeophobia? Like, did I just make that up? Like, what? What is it? You got ryeophobia? What's wrong, man? Is it the spices of it? Is it? Did you have a dilly one? You know, did you have a kind of a dilly one that really kind of threw you off your game? Well, what is it? A little background music on here, as I like to do sometimes. Oh, it's too grassy, says Mike Callahan. Too grassy. Well, you got to have some of these higher age ones, dude, because some of them are, that grassiness goes away. You just get kind of like these full, bold flavors. You got to get like a high age, like Kentucky rye with some really good sweetness levels to it, because it's got a higher corn content. So it's going to be still a little bit of a sweeter rye. It's going to give you more of the traditional caramels that you need, you know, over something that's just a pure 95.5 rye, that tasting that for a younger age could definitely scare you away a little bit. I like rye, love the spice. Yeah, and finished ryes were a big thing for me in 2022. I discovered some really good finished ryes. All right, so number 3, I think might be my favorite so far. Let's go to number 4. Ooh. These are kind of getting better and better. Travis Robertson says the first rye I ever had is 117 proof Dickel distilled. Sold me, wish they made more of their own. Yeah, again, Dickel makes sweet rye whiskey, so I think that's why it's definitely a lot more approachable. Yeah, I think the dill note for me, William Wiley, too, is what kind of, kills me, kind of kills a rye profile for me as well. This one's giving me a weird note at the end of it. No, the M&J Hughes pick has not released yet, Logan. We have a bunch of other stuff we got to get out of here before that one goes. First rye was Bullet. Bullet's a nice, approachable rye, but I mean, that's also 95.5, mainly used in cocktails. I mean, if you could find like Pikesville rye, I think any of the Heaven Hill ryes are amazing, especially for beginners. Even the Old Forester rye at 100 proof is really, really good. That one has a little spice to it. Digging that one. Oh, Alfredo, that's a great bottle. The Hardin's Creek. That is one of my favorite bottles that Jim Beam has put out in a long time, for sure. Oh yeah, Russell's 6-year rye, another great rye. I mean, any of those Kentucky ryes, Knob Creek rye, any of those ryes that you get out of Kentucky are going to be a little bit more sweeter than spice. Wild Turkey 101 rye is Christmas in a bottle. That is orange, spice, and cinnamon all day long. All day long. Cohen says, no dill, mint, or pine, or I'm out on rye. Yeah, that means you will it. Yeah, Sagamore rye is, I mean, how can I forget Sagamore? You want like a perfect example of just a really well-blended rye. You get a little spice, you get a lot of sweet. Sagamore rye, man. It's delicious. All right, let's go to number 5 here. I'm not sure how I feel about number 4 yet. All right, number 5. Oh yeah, Wilderness Trail Rye. That is a really good one. Wilderness Trail Rye though can get a little bit on the herbal side. It depends on the barrel. Because when I went there to do a pick from beginning, from the one side of the warehouse to the other side, it went from like herbal, black tea, mint, peppermint. Then it got to the middle of the warehouse, and then we were getting a little bit more sweet mixed with that mint. And then we got to the other end of the warehouse where it was all like sweet rye. So I think it just depends on what barrel you get from Wilderness Trail. But they can go from herbal to sweet. Depends on what barrel it is. Hmm. Wilderness Trail Rye is straight pine cone. Oh yeah, pine cone. Rare breed rye. Rare breed rye again. I think rare breed rye is just a higher proof version of 101, obviously because it just gives me more of that cream, like that orange creamsicle note to it. All right, let's get into. Do I have anything left here? No, that's it. Let's get into this, guys. Sazerac. All right, we're gonna talk a little bit about this Sazerac news statement that went out, and let me kind of pull this up here. So, Sazerac left Republic National Distributing Company, which is RNDC, one of the largest distributing companies in the world. You know what? I'm going to turn off the music for this because I want to kind of get all my thoughts out here. So everyone is kind of saying, okay, so this is going to mean, what does this mean for us? So on the surface, you have to look at it as Sazerac. This is all business. This is all business for Sazerac. Okay. Now, traditional big distributors like RNDC, you're looking at normally 20 to 25% margin on selling those products to stores and to different whether it be stores, liquor stores, whatever it may be. What Sazerac is doing is leaving RNDC and now pretty much parsing out all of their products. Now you're talking about, I think we're talking about like 6,000 to 7,000 SKUs of product. I mean, this is Fireball, Buffalo Trace, tequilas they have. I mean, you name it. This is a lot of products. This is not all about Buffalo Trace, but I think people are forgetting. So when you think about it on the surface, now they could parse all the distribution to smaller distributors in different sections of the United States. What does that mean? It's all about three things for Sazerac. It's all about control. It's all about more money. But what's the third thing? I had it written down. Oh, and more attention and more leverage. So maybe four things. You have all those things kind of grouped up into what I think it means for Sazerac. Now, Sazerac switching to smaller regional distilleries in this case. So you're looking at the top beer, wine, and spirits distributors in a given area. Means those smaller distributors probably negotiated a smaller margin. So that just means Sazerac is going to have a shit ton more money to put in their pocket when it's all said and done. It was probably a very easy negotiation when you think about it, because you go from 25% margin down to maybe the high teens instead from all these smaller distillers. All these smaller distributors. I think that's really where you go. Plus, there's one other side of this that some people might be forgetting. Remember that RNDC has been kind of investigated as of late. And, I've heard a lot of different reasons being thrown out. I think mainly the thing is like kind of like the bad distribution practices where you talk about, in order to get a case of Blanton's, you need to buy 100,000 bottles of Fireball. So I think that part of it is being investigated slightly. So maybe part of it is Sazerac trying to get themselves out from underneath that spotlight as well. But for the most part, you're looking at every thing that is under the Sazerac umbrella now being distributed and split up and parsed out to all these smaller beer, wine, and spirit distributors across the country. So just to kind of get an idea here, here is the switch up. Here's some of the switch ups. So new distributor breakdown. So Breakthrough Beverage is one of them. They will cover the states you see there. Johnson Brothers will cover the states you see there. Reyes distributor will cover California, Hawaii, and counties in Texas. Kentucky Eagle will be Kentucky. Southern Glazers go to Alaska. Martignetti companies, I forgot who they're going to be covering. But we have Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas. Look at how many Texas is getting just based on the size of Texas. And then you have the control states like here in Ohio. Sazerac will also set up its own brokerage operations in the following control states: North Carolina, Virginia, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Utah, Wyoming, and Montgomery County, Maryland. So, all right, so now we have the Sazerac perspective. Aiden, Bourbon Real Talk did a good update on this today. Yeah, I saw that. He did a nice job of breaking it down. Now let's talk about it from the distributor side. From the distributor side, these new smaller ones, they're, like I said, they're about to take on something like 7,000 to 8,000 new SKUs of product. They're about to, I think it could become an issue with some of the smaller brands that those distributors actually deal with. Are they going to kind of lose their spotlight, lose their place in line because of Sazerac? That might be something to watch. We'll see how it goes. I don't know what brands each of those smaller distributors handle, but we'll see how that goes down the line. You have this big shadow of Sazerac looming all like on top of these smaller distributors. Can they handle that type of volume? It'll be interesting to see. The transition period is supposed to go in effect here by the beginning of February. So we'll see how that goes. I don't really see that happening. There could be a lot of mix up in between. There could be stuff that goes missing from shelves for a little bit. But if you're just talking about the bourbon side and Buffalo Trace, not many people see a lot of that stuff anyway. So, but it could mean nobody really following around the RNDC trucks around Kentucky anymore, trying to follow them to see if they go to Buffalo Trace with new products, or even stores with products of Buffalo Trace stuff. So I think that's something that might be kind of interesting, an interesting part of it. But those guys, they'll find those distribution trucks no matter what. From a consumer side, now this is the part of it that I really want to kind of dig into here. Will we see a difference? Maybe this ends corrupt practices. Maybe this starts getting into more of a streamlined distribution model where you don't have to buy 25,000 cases or bottles of Fireball to get a case of Blanton's in your store. We'll see. Does it mean we will see more Buffalo Trace on the shelf available? Maybe with the distribution being so fragmented now, I don't know. I think it could make it harder to see Buffalo Trace products in the beginning. However, I do think that Sazerac will still be preaching the same thing that they always do, which is rarity driving demand. You have rarity that drives demand in all Buffalo Trace aspects. Some of that is also just you can't keep up with the demand that they've built up. So holding back certain bottles, certain brands to drive that demand and that desire to get those bottles, I think will still be a thing. I still don't think it's going to control any sort of secondary market, value at all. I still think if whatever the distribution model ends up being, when those stores get those bottles, you're still going to see them jacked up. Pappy Van Winkle will still be behind glass cases, marked up to $8,000 a bottle, whatever the hell it is these days. But locations where Buffalo Trace products go, we'll see if they, I don't know. We'll see if the prices do come down a little bit. But as far as like availability and people saying we're going to see more shit now on the shelves, I don't think that's going to be the case. I just don't. Remember, Buffalo Trace, Sazerac already have specific areas where their products go. So everybody knows Ohio gets a shit ton of Weller. Everybody knows, Texas gets Weller. I think Michigan gets a lot of Eagle Rare, and other places get whatever it is. Certain states get a lot more Buffalo Trace stuff than other people get. And unless something drastic happens, I don't think it's going to change. I think The only thing that's going to make Buffalo Trace products more available is Buffalo Trace and Sazerac making them more available. Just because they have a different distributor doesn't mean we're going to magically see a bunch of bottles all over the place. It's not going to happen. If it does, great. But I just can't see it happening for the time being. All right, rant over. Let me get back here to the chat. I'm sick of stores haggling prices versus leaving the price here with that stuff. I mean, it happens all the time, unfortunately. Let's see here. Oh, shit, it's Bourbon Nights here? What is going on, Chad and Sarah? Nice to see you guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I know, I mean, everybody here has to watch Chad and Sarah. Come on. Everybody's got to watch Chad and Sarah. They're amazing. They're very close to 100,000 subs, too. I got to catch up to you guys. Shit. So glad I'm a Beamhead. I've accepted I'll never taste a Pappy Stag, etc. California gets Buffalo Trace and E.H. Taylor. Yeah, Buffalo Trace isn't changing a thing. I think where the bottles go, that's where they're going to go. What I'm concerned about is that a lot of these smaller distributors will get a lot of these bottles. Will it end up being kind of a sloppy mess in the beginning? That could, I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be so sloppy that bottles will end up on the shelf. One can only hope. All of a sudden, just BTAC everywhere on shelves. That won't happen. That won't happen, but it's nice to think about. All right, last one, guys. Dr. Muffs. Yes, I did finish I have one more blind tasting to do before I finish my best bourbons and whiskeys of 2022. So like I told you guys, I just really needed a break after Blunt Again was over to kind of get all my bearings. So I'm going to do another blind tasting tomorrow, get through that one, and then kind of work out what my top 10 are going to be. So if Buffalo Trace was decimated by a fiery earthquake-fueled hurricane, what would the bros chase? Local store owner complained to me that they've already worse this year than ever. Well, I mean, you got to remember, I still think that, oh, Dara's here. What's going on, Dara? Dara from The Average Drinker. You guys need to definitely subscribe and watch her. 505 people in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out and watching tonight. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, it's Bourbon Night. Chad and Sarah, if you guys are watching, I'm not sure. I think Chad was on with SMWS tonight. So if that's Chad just lurking at the computer, I don't know. Chad, a quick chat. What do you think about the change? Do you think it's going to change anything for Buffalo Trace for us getting more products, or do you think it's going to be the same shit that we always get? Just curious of what your feedback is. So again, real quick, for Sazerac, changing the distribution model, it just means more money for them because they're going to get less of a margin, a lot more leverage, more control, and, you know, God knows how much more money they're going to be making just from the smaller margin. Okay. For the distributor side, you know, maybe some of those kind of questionable practices might go away, like I said, but I think it'll be sloppy in the beginning when it transitions. But I would not bet against Sazerac for messing anything up. I think the bottles are going to go where they're going to go. And then lastly, will we see more Buffalo Trace because of this and more Buffalo Trace products? No, I still think it's going to stay the same it does going forward. Only Sazerac and Buffalo Trace would make this much noise switching a distributor, to be honest, if you think about it. Yeah, I think Sazerac knows exactly what they're doing. Bourbon Knight says, nope, same shit, different day. Hope I'm wrong, though. I think a lot of people hope they're wrong. Do you think this is the reason for the massive drop of Blanton's Eagle Rare on Southern California? Dumping some of the small sort of gotten 5 to 10 cases of Eagle Rare and Blanton's, more BTAC than normal. I mean, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, Stanley. I don't. It's hard to get a lens into all those drops. Same thing happened here in Ohio. There's that single barrel weekend that they dropped a bunch of Blantons, the Weller single barrels. I know Southern California got a shit ton of it, and other places, but I think it's I think it's some of it is holding back, maybe saving all that equity up for the end of the year when they do this big release. That's really the only thing I could think of. Let's see here. They want the questionable practices with all the changes, the worst of them, all Empire stays. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe. Buffalo Trace has been almost every liquor store I go to for the past few months here in Louisiana. Not sure why, but it's been plentiful. Yeah, I mean, regular Buffalo Trace, I think it's a solid bourbon. I mean, people chase it like it's Pappy, for God's sake. People just how to make themselves money, and that's what they care about. That's basically what it is. It's all about the margins. That's right. That's right. Right there, what Dunny said on the bottom. That's what it is. They switched it up to get way more margin and more control and more power over who gets what. And that's why I think if you think we're going to see more of it, it ain't happening. So, all right, last one here, guys. That one is very good. This one has all the things. Deep rich, it's caramel forward, it's oak, it's brown sugar, it's a little sweet, a little bit of a little pop of what is that? You know, a sip of that one. It's cherry for sure. Definitely cherry. Should have put basic Buffalo Trace in this flight, Jason. I'm not going to put any Buffalo Trace in any flight that I deem available. I can't get it. I mean, I have it, but you can't walk into the store and buy it unless you live in certain areas in the United States. But it's not here, not in Ohio. Ohio, yeah, definitely is the land of Weller, and we used to get a lot of Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare and even Colonel Taylor, but even those have kind of been more trickled out into the market here in Ohio for sure. Tom Harper, do you think Sagamore Port could ever win Whiskey of the Year? Why does it seem like Rye's never compete in the big picture of Whiskey of the Year? I mean, I just always separate it just because I think, Ryes have gotten so big. I think it deserves its own category. But yeah, I mean, Sagamore, all of these people, all these distilleries that are making great rye whiskeys can easily compete with everything. Houston has quite a bit of Buffalo Trace. Yeah, Houston. Blanton's goes for $80 where I am. Way overpriced at this point. You got to remember, guys, too. People forget this. Buffalo Trace, not Buffalo Trace. Blanton's is a 4-year-old whiskey right now. 4-year-old. 4 years, maybe 5. 4 to 5-year-old. And I think they dropped the age statement. There's no age statement on it, but I think they're just doing that to keep up with demand. Because Blanton's knows and Sazerac knows and Buffalo Trace knows that it's going to sell because of that bottle. It doesn't matter what the hell they put in it. All right, let's taste through these here one more time. That one kind of got better sitting out. Wow, I actually think I like A more still. Yep. All right, so I like this one over this one, first and foremost. Let's go to C here. Oh, Scott from My Bourbon Journey is here. What's up, Hawk? Toasty Bake, hot take. I'm sick of people complaining about bourbon YouTubers reviewing limited editions. And Chad and Sarah highlighted in their last video, enthusiasts don't complain about reviews of 100,000 sports cars that most people can't buy. That's a good take, Toasty Bake. Yes, Chad and Sarah did a really great video of kind of just talking about like their every year. I mean, every YouTuber gets it. It's the end of the year list. And basically, whatever we list out, people are saying, great, can't get it, can't find it, won't pay for it. This sucks. This is just flexing your collection. This is that. This is that. Listen, you have the right to think that way. And I can understand why. But you also have to remember that, and I think it also comes from a little bit of folks, looking on YouTubers that we get all these bottles for free. We get to taste all these great whiskeys. That is not the case for everyone. A lot of the bottles that I buy, or a lot of the bottles that I review, I 100% have to buy them. or chase them down. Yes, do I get free bottles and free samples from distilleries from time to time? Absolutely. I'll never deny that. But to get some of these bottles to review, to keep your channel going, this is why we hunt down the bottles and we're willing to pay for those bottles. It's not because, you know, I mean, if we had an all budget, I mean, you could definitely agree that, yeah, maybe YouTubers should focus on more available stuff, which is something I try to do with the What's on the Shelf Wednesday series, just kind of throw in something that's a little bit more available for everyone. But, I mean, you know, like these guys that complain that, oh, I'll never get that bottle. I guarantee if I go to that guy's house and go look in his collection, he probably has a bottle that I don't have. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to complain to him now. It goes both ways. So I'm not going to, I wouldn't sweat it too much. Chad and Sarah, it happens every single year that you do these end of the year videos. It is what it is. You really can't fight it. That's what people feel. I get it. I totally understand. That's why I'm really trying this year for my top 10 to be a mix of, yeah, you're going to have some unicorns in there. You're going to have some harder to find, and then you're going to have some available ones. So, you know, I think the secret is to kind of do a good mix of a little bit of everything. So, but yeah. Yeah, Jason is in the same line that I'm. Yeah, Troy. I talked to Troy on that single barrel drop. I wait online like everybody else. I mean, people in Ohio think that Ohio sends me bottles. Ohio doesn't send me shit. That's not how Ohio's business model is. You got to buy that bottle. You ain't getting nothing for free. Now, if you help them with a pick, yeah, they'll get you a bottle. But when it comes to like trying to get, like, I didn't get a Weller full proof. I waited online and get one. They were gone. I mean, I didn't get there earlier enough. I wait online like everybody else. JG says, Jason C, you're invited to come to my house. Steve Johnson, you definitely need to find one of those new Riff Sherry barrel proof ryes because it's glorious. All right. I like this one over this one. Do I like 3 over 1? Man, this is so citrusy. I love it. You know, I'll put that ahead of that one, but that first one is still kind of in my wheelhouse here. All right, let's go to this one here. This is so super sweet. So sweet. Can't make everyone happy. I like this bottle similar to the vids. Just keep putting vids out. Oh, you guys are awesome. Yeah, I've kind of implemented now in the final breakdowns of my videos for 2023. I'm implementing an alternative portion of the final breakdown. So if it's something highly allocated, try to think of something you can get that's close to it. So I think that's more important than ever nowadays. That is very sweet. Very sweet. I mean, it's good, but it's just missing a little bit of spice. Not really sure where that falls, but I still think it's more interesting than this one. This one, I don't know. This one's giving me, I'm not sure about that one. I'll put that one ahead for now. Now we get into these two. These two I really liked. This has way more of a flavor punch to it. A little bit more oak. That's nice. Need a quick drink of water here. I got good bottles late in the Ohio barrel drop. High West double rum rye finish. The Jefferson's was actually good. Yeah. Bourbon Brigade says, I love complainers. Their tears are delicious. Yeah. I mean, you can't make everyone happy. You got to just do what you got to do. Put your head down. Make content. You know, people that agree with your palate, they're going to like what you put out. Jason, I did a full write-up of my Blend Again and Blend on the gram. Sawyer Eric, if anyone wanted to see again what I put in it. So yeah, there you go, guys. Eric live in the flesh right there. As I live and breathe, Eric Sawyer, 2022 champion of Blendageddon. Eric, I'll contact you soon, man, because I gotta get all your prizes out to you that you won. This one's good. Then this last one I remember I really liked. Oh, this one. This one is like just like another little bit of a level of whiskey here compared to the others. So I'm going to kind of keep these three aside here, and I'm going to kind of deal with these top three and see how I'm going to place them. I mean, these three are all solid, solid whiskey, solid bourbons, especially for the money. All these are pretty much below $30, so you can't go wrong. But now when you're trying to Mash and Drum, I can attest personally to that, Jason. You're in search of for a hearse last year, and then when I found one, called you, and you bought it for me. A lot of us proxy bottles for each other. Yeah, that's another thing that people forget. Having a channel, you get to build up this network of just amazing people that can help you look for stuff when you need. It's the same thing as someone going into a store and building a relationship with a store owner that trusts you, knows you're not going to flip a bottle, knows that you're going to take it home, enjoy it, and he'll sell you that bottle because of that. So when you're kind of doing YouTube and you're making relationships across the whiskey verse, there's very generous people that can help you find stuff, or if not, at least send you a sample. So, and that's what it's about. Man, I really like this last one here. That might be my fave. All right, I think it's my favorite. All right, let's go to these two. 562 in the chat tonight. What is up, guys? Thanks for hanging out with me. We have another blind tasting coming soon, too, which I'm going to try to guess shit and probably get it really wrong. We'll see what happens. But right after I'm done with this, we're going to get into my 2023 whiskey predictions. So stay tuned for that. That'll be fun. And in that prediction list, I have bottles that I wish for. Bottles I think a lot of us have wished for over the course of time that we have not seen yet. So we'll see what happens. Do you think the Sazerac early times is going to be significantly different from the Brown-Forman bottling? I don't think so, but I also don't feel like I've tasted the early times yet. I'm not really sure. When I did them side by side, I thought it felt like there was a difference to me. But I mean, maybe my head was messing with it. I don't know, but we'll see how it shakes out here tonight. That's why I wanted to include it in the blind tonight to see how it is. So I think that's my favorite. Let's go to these two. I just have to figure out which one I like more from this. Oh, this one just has a little bit more punch going on than this one. Yeah. Oh, that's good. This is spicy and citrusy, which makes me think Wild Turkey, but could it be the Wheel Horse? I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Blendageddon Design Group. Yeah, it was fun always talking predictions. Jason, not sure if you've done this yet, but seeing a Russell Reserve 13 batch 1, 2, and 3 comparison would be fun to watch. I have all three. I could do that, but yeah, one of them I haven't opened yet. Yeah, because everyone's saying like they're so different. I think that's bullshit. I think if there's a difference, and I talked to Rarebird about this, people going crazy and saying that, oh, batch 3 is so much better than batch 2, and batch 1 is the best. Come on. It's a very minuscule difference between all three of them. And remember, when you're batching that many bottles or barrels together from bottle to bottle, it could be a little bit different. We've seen this all across the board with other brands. Wild Turkey, Jim Beam, everybody is guilty of it. So, like relax that sentiment, honestly. Yeah, there's a third, Lionel G. Did you do an ECBP comparison for 2022? Yeah. And actually, B1 in the beginning But I'll tell you guys a little bit of a back end story here. I put those in a blind last night for my top bourbons of the year, and I chose C over B last night. So I'm not going to tell you like where I'm going to slot them in the, in the realm of what I pick this year. But last night, C won over B. When I first did it, B won over C. Again, airtime, palette, things could change, but both of those were bangers this year. Shit, I might like put them in one slot together, B and C, because they were that good. So, yeah, this is why I love this channel. He cuts the BS, doesn't make up differences if they're just not there. Yep. Jason's hot takes. Yeah, Dara, I'm with you. The C922 is friggin' amazing. Jason, can you do an ECBP 922 versus Larceny C922? I could do that a little bit at the end. I'll do that at the end, man. Just remind me as we get towards the end, JC. I'll do that tonight. I'll go through the exact differences for you. Okay. All right, let's find out what these are here. Wow. That's surprising. The last place for me in this blind is the early times. Oh my God. See, that's not right. That's not right. Something is off. Something is wrong with early times. This never gets last place in a blind like this. What has Sazerac done to my early times? What the F? Come on. That pisses me off, actually. Why would that get last? Come on. That hurts. That hurts my that one hurt my soul a little bit. It did. It done did. So just for future reference, guys, when you buy a bottle of Early Times Bottle and Bond right now, I don't know if this will focus up here. So I can get it close here. So right there are two DSP numbers, two of them. DSP KY 354, which is Early Times, and then DSP KY 12, which is Barton. So those are the two DSPs that are on here. So this was distilled by Early Times, bottled by Barton. When I tasted this, I said there was like a weird youthful note to it, and I think that's what it is. I don't know what happened to it, but that definitely hurts my soul a little bit. Oh my God, Early Times last? All right. Second to last. What do we got here? This one is the Benchmark Bonded. So this was the one that I said was super, super sweet. That's what it was. That's what it is. It's Benchmark. It's Buffalo Trace. It is super sweet stuff. But 100 proof sweetness, it's a pretty damn good value bourbon if you could find it. I mean, I dig it. If I want something really sweet and easy, I use this bourbon a lot for someone who likes sweeter bourbons, but wants to go something a little bit of a higher proof. This is the order right here, Benchmark Bonded. You want to introduce someone to something above 90, jump to 100, give them Benchmark Bonded. Not only is it super sweet and easy to drink, but even at 100 proof, it's a nice, easy sipper. Okay. Fourth place. All right, getting into the nitty gritty here. This one hurts my soul again. I said it earlier. It's the Wild Turkey 101. You guys know how much I love Wild Turkey 101. But I said this when I reviewed it. When I reviewed the new bottling, I said that Wild Turkey 101 has gotten sweeter. It's lost a little bit of its spice. Oh my gosh, I just spilled some. Sorry. It is. It's sweeter. Oof. Dude, don't say it changed when the label changed. Mike, you got to remember, this is a blend. People forget that these are multiple barrels blended together to make this profile. But I really do believe that it's gotten a little bit more mellowed out. Not to say it's a bad whiskey by any means. I still love the hell out of Wild Turkey 101. And this will probably always be my go-to. But yeah, I'm missing a little bit more of the spice that it had, on some of the older. Now, this was the second bottle of Wild Turkey 101, the new bottle that I bought. I got to try it again. I don't know if this is a consistent profile they're going for, or if it's kind of the standard that they're going to stick with. We'll see. So, yeah, it's kind of the twilight zone right now. Spilling is better than falling off the chair. How many bottles do you have? Maybe do a flavor drift check. No, I mean, listen, it's still good. I mean, I know everyone's like freaking out. Oh my God, Wild Turkey 101 got fourth. But honestly, I think Wild Turkey 101s can change from time to time. It could just be this bottle. It's not like I'm going to stop buying Wild Turkey 101. I still think it's the best sub $25 bottle you can buy in the market. I don't care what anybody says. All right. Third place, right next to 101. And this is what I was scared of. Goes to the Wheel Horse, which is Green River. It doesn't surprise me. Now, when I first did these two head to head, this one won. The Wild Turkey 101 won for me. I'm doing it tonight, and now Wheel Horse wins. They're both exactly the same proof. They're both 101 proof, and they're also both high rye mash bills. Not really sure the amount of rye that's in the Wheel Horse, but it's pretty close, I think. I think this is, Wild Turkey's 13, which I don't really think is a relatively super high rye mash bill. But Wheel Horse, I do think is actually higher. And Wheel Horse, I mean, if you guys haven't tried Wheel Horse yet from Green River Distilling, I highly recommend it. It's an absolutely terrific bourbon. So, for sure. Yeah, Wild Turkey 101, still better than Buffalo Trace. Still better than Buffalo Trace. And on some day, I'm not going to go that far. I was going to say on some days, maybe even better than Eagle Rare, but Eagle Rare is a pretty damn good bourbon for the money, if you could get it at retail. All right, so that means left, Jim Beam, single barrel, and the Cooper's Craft. That one has to be the Cooper's Craft. I think this is the Jim Beam. See if I'm right. Yep. Jim Beam coming in and just walloping some of my favorites. This Jim Beam single barrel is really nice. It's a really nice whiskey. But you can't take down my Cooper's Craft for $30. Actually, it's $30, $29.99 for Cooper's Craft. Damn. This is the second year in a row that Cooper's Craft has won one of these budget blinds for me. And I just think there's an extra level of oak and caramel and brown sugar that some of these other lower proof budget whiskeys, they just don't have it yet. And I think it's that chisel and charred like technique they do to the barrels. This is so damn good for the money. But this is what I really wanted. I wanted to see how this Jim Beam single barrel would do. And it did pretty damn good tonight. So let me kind of spread these out here, guys. So here, number 1, number 2, 3, 4. The early times one, guys, that one hurts me. So here's my order tonight. The new early times getting last. The Benchmark Bonded, second to last. Wild Turkey getting 4th. Wheel Horse getting 3rd. The Jim Beam Single Barrel getting 2nd. And the Cooper's Craft getting 1st place. All of these bottles are about $30 and under. Maybe a little bit. Maybe let's say 35 in some place, 35 and under. So what does this mean? This means that no matter what your palate likes, there's some really good budget whiskeys out there. All of these were really good and just kind of hard to pick out, to be honest. I think the only one I kind of knew was the Cooper's, which one it was the Cooper's Craft. because Cooper's Craft has this oak profile that I don't think any of the other ones have. So, yep. I have a Jim Beam single barrel that tastes just like Baker 7, just with a few sharper edges, and that could totally be the what's early times label print to avoid. So I mean, if you could find one, just don't try to find the ones that don't say 12 on it. DSP KY12. Try to find the ones that are just early times and Brown Forman on the back. I can't remember the Brown Forman DSP number off the top of my head. If anyone knows it in the chat, look it up and throw it down in the chat. But yeah, the DSP 12 just seems to be thinner. I'm not sure what is going on with this thing. I just can't put my finger on it. Let's see here. Yeah, that'll be a good double bass, Kenneth, for sure. Cooper's tastes like it belongs in the Whiskey Row series of Old Forester, right in there with a $60 bourbon, but it's $30. Tom, I could not agree with that sentiment more. There's something about Cooper's that makes it feel older, richer on the palate, a little bit more heft to it. It really does. Yeah, the caps are different too. That's really the biggest way you can. If you see the metal twist cap, that's the new bottle. That's the new one. Yep, black plastic cap, good. Blue metal cap, bad. So look for the black cap if you want to stock up on some of the better early times. Actually, when I watched the Bourbon Junkies, they did their top like disappointing whiskeys and bourbons or whatever. I'm working on a video for that too. Early Times was in that list, and Early Times has been. I know Sean was really upset because that's been one of his favorites forever, and it hasn't really hit. I don't know what it is or what's going on with it, but it's crazy. I have the new Early Times. Once open, it tastes better. Do you take tips in Bitcoin, aka real sound money? Be aware and focus. I do not have. I don't do Bitcoin. I don't even know anything about it. But I'll just take a nice super chat if you want. That's fine. All right, guys. We have another blind tasting to do, submitted by Big Vic. But before we do that, it is time for the Mash and Drums whiskey predictions for 2023. All right, guys. Whiskey predictions 2023. But before we do that, I'm going to pour this. Guys, Found North sent me this bottle. And again, just being transparent, they sent me this bottle to taste and to review. This is their 8-year-old wheated cast strength whiskey, 73 corn, 27% wheat, 116.2 proof. It's their batch 5. Now, I had this when I was in oh my God, this thing just fucking spit wax everywhere. I had this when I was in Wisconsin. I can't say America because it's Canadian, so Canada. And for what I remember, this thing was absolutely stellar. So I'm going to sip on this while I go through my predictions with you guys. Guys, this is just sweet candy in a glass. It's ridiculous. If you guys like sweet whiskeys with actual like finishes to it, this Found North Batch 5 is ridiculous. And I'm not just saying that because they sent me a bottle. It's really good. I haven't tasted this one yet. Found North, some of their batches kind of miss for me, but this one is delicious. Yeah, it's so good. Okay. All right, let me hit the music again real quick. All right, whiskey predictions 2023. Now you have the old hits, guys. We have the old hits, which means more celebrities getting into whiskey, more consolidation, which means more people being bought up, more distilleries being bought up. We saw Wilderness Trail get purchased by Campari. We saw Balcones get picked up by Diageo. The Bardstown Bourbon Company got picked up by Prisker Associates. But Prisker, really, for what they're doing, they're just ready. They're just going to flip that distillery in like 5 or 6 years once it gains even more market share and more value. But I think we'll see a lot of those. Really, it's about some of the more fun ones to try to predict. So one thing that people always talk about is price increases. Will we see more price increases? I think so. I think prices will continue to go up. But I also think we're going to start seeing, we've already seen this with Jack Daniels, and we've seen it with other distilleries as well. 700 milliliter bottles. They are coming. And I think we're going to see a lot more of them in 2023 from different brands. What I'm hoping is that you have the same amount, the same money. So say a bottle's $50 right now. All right. The bottle's going to get smaller. It's going to stay at 700 milliliters, but hopefully this price still stays at $50. But technically, you're getting 50 milliliters less of whiskey. So that's one prediction. I really do think that the 700 milliliter bottle is going to become way more prevalent in the U.S. market here in 2023. All right, next one. Jason, what's Found North? I don't know how much. So Found North is they're out of Maryland, I believe. And these guys they basically find all these old casks of whiskey in Canada, blend them, and then they bottle them, and they're pretty affordable. There's usually pretty high age statements on it. This is 8 years. This cask strength whiskey is 17 years old. This is a 17-year-old cask strength whiskey with an 87 corn, 12 rye, 1 malted barley, finished in Hungarian oak. So it's very sweet. It's got a very savory type of profile at the same time. So I don't know. I always kind of compare this to, if you've ever had a lot of the American whiskeys from like either Old Carter or something like that, you could kind of get into that zone with them. Thanks, Be Aware and Focus. I appreciate that, man. Okay. Let me get into Found North. Yeah, it's about $100, I think, for the bottles. It's not terrible. The cask strength 17 year is really good. Yeah, price. Yeah, I have to go online and look at what those are. I think around $100 though. I don't need more bourbon in a bottle. I need more bourbon available at reasonable prices. Exactly. That's where I think it should go. But you guys know the market today. Now, the next big thing, and I'm already seeing this just with the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. I think bottle fatigue is starting to set in on single barrels. I think everyone has a single barrel. Everybody has a club. Everyone's doing single barrels. And I think the buying and people getting all these different barrels will slow down tremendously. Unless you're a heritage distiller. If you're getting picks from Buffalo Trace, Four Roses, Heaven Hill, Jim Beam, I still think people are buying those all day. But a lot of these other like mainstream single barrels, like all the MGP, everyone putting out 6-year, 7-year MGP all over the place, I think that's going to slow down tremendously. What I think it's going to shift to is blending. I think that single barrels in 2023 will fall a little bit by the wayside and get into more personal blend experiences. Now, you could tell me that Mattingly, Jay Mattingly has been doing this for a little bit. Yes, they have been doing those blends that you can do on your own and bottle it, and that's great. But we haven't really seen it too much from the bigger distilleries doing this as a more personalized experience. I think that's the next thing for these bourbon and whiskey groups to do is personal blends. Personal cigar blends, personal wheaters, personal 4 grains. I think that's going to be the next big thing that a lot of these whiskey clubs start doing, not just picking barrels, because there is such an influx of barrels happening each and every week. We're feeling it here with the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club because we're getting a bunch of bottles here and there's just too many to compete with, to be honest. So I think that's going to slow down a lot. Third, the rise of the American single malt. I think I've said this the last 3 years, and I've been wrong each time. Why do I believe it that it's going to happen this year in 2023? Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels, because Jack Daniels, one of the biggest distilleries on the planet, decides to do a single malt. Now, whether you like it or whether you don't, that's big. So will the other distillers follow suit? Now, there's other factors to kind of factor in here. You have the barrel shortage, which has to be a brand new cask to make bourbon. Now, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of bourbon barrels being aged right now. Okay. Now, on top of that, if there is a barrel shortage, does it slow down production in some sort of way? Does American single malt come into the fold? American single malt, I don't think you have to use a brand new barrel. You can use a used barrel in order to make your own American single malt. So does that become more prevalent? Do American single malts start getting bought up? Like, for example, let's say Sazerac. Buffalo Trace does not have an American single malt in their portfolio. Say they want to get in that game, in that space, they could buy, I don't know, they could buy one of these big single malt producers. They could, and come out with their own, or keep it that label, but have another distillery making American single malt from them. Instead of reinventing the wheel, they go to a producer, or they buy a producer that already knows how to make American single malt, and they could just kind of put it out under their own label. So if maybe not this year, maybe next year. We'll see what happens. I've been saying this like the last 3 years, and I've been like dead wrong every time. Let's go to the chat here, see what you guys are saying. Let's see here. Yeah, Massachusetts. That's what I meant. Massachusetts, not Maryland, for sure. Single barrels can be so hit and miss. Yeah, it really depends on the palate. Let's see here. You must have watched Bourbon Roundtable. The guys from Bourbon Pursuit, they kind of did a roundtable on this. They were kind of going through all that. I definitely was watching it. I agreed with a lot of some of the stuff that they were saying. But I really do think that blending is going to be the next thing. They were just kind of talking about like single barrels going by the wayside. But I think blends are going to be kind of the next big thing for whiskey groups, for sure. Makers does staves, not so much blends. You pick a different variety of staves and put in the barrel. It's not really a blend. You're just blending staves to get a different profile. Let's see here. Do you think they'll charge more for blends than single barrels? I mean, it might, because that means more barrels. I'll be buying your picks still. Don't worry. I'm ready to grab all 3 driftwoods on Friday. You and Scott are killing it. Thank you, Pork Chop Sandwiches. I loved Ryan Cecil's idea when he was on Personal Blend with him for Pursuit United. He should have held that card closely. Yeah, that's where I think I love that idea too. I think Bardstown Bourbon Company is working on something like that as well. That you could kind of walk in, do your own personal blend. If someone could create a way to walk into an experience, create your own blend, bottle it, label it, and then be out the door in like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe, that's where it needs to go. That's where it needs to go. It really, yeah. I mean, Maker's Mark does do blending, but again, I've done the Maker's Mark experience. The blends are great. But even though there's a million, combinations you can do, chances are the combination is kind of out there already. So like if you wanted to do a 4-grain, if you wanted to do a wheated rye or something like that, you can't really do that with Makers. All you have to do is to play with the staves. What about single malts gaining popularity? I kind of went into that. Let's see. So many good AMS. Let's see here. I hope it tastes Japanese. American single malts ain't no Scotch malt, and they want the same money. That's a good point, Cohen. That's a good point. Let's see. Oh, shit. Whack Attack's here. Jason, how about more American whiskey? I think that could happen. You never know with the barrel shortage. Will we see more American whiskey versus bourbon when it comes down to it because of barrel shortages? You never know. One thing, yeah, hedging my bets. Let's see here. Predictions on ECBP and larceny this year. I mean, it'll be hard to be 2022. I'll say that, Dusty. They had a really good year this year, Heaven Hill. I feel like Heaven Hill, this was the year of Heaven Hill, or 2022 was. Um, we have that blend, your own bottle experience here in Nashville, says Top Dog. Hearttooth in Indiana offers a blend experience, a bottle your own blend. Yeah, I think more consumers are going to want that. So I think we'll see a shift somewhere. Um, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, Cohen, that's probably my best world whiskey I've had this year. Hell yeah. Fred Minnick just got A123. What the hell? I gotta get one of those. Damn it. Weller did that CYP bottle consumer input. Yeah, but it's one thing for them to do it. Weller does it and has the CYPB, but you know what the problem is? Nobody can fucking get it. And if you want to get it, you got to pay $800 for it. So yeah, thanks for nothing, Buffalo Trace, for making this great thing where you could go on, blend your own shit, and then you know what? Once you spend that 20 minutes, 30 minutes making that blend, guess what? You can't buy it. So that doesn't really resonate with me at all. Anything Sazerac does or Buffalo Trace decides to do, I like the fact that they did that, but when you can't get it, it really doesn't really move the needle for me. What's my next whiskey prediction? MGP. I think MGP. I'm sorry, Ross and Squibb. I think Ross and Squibb is going to start to go by the wayside a little bit in some of the bottles that are available. Meaning, when you have brands being bought up, so we just talked about Wilderness Trail being bought up. We talked about Bardstown Bourbon Company. We talked a little bit about Balcones. The big thing with Wilderness Trail that nobody's really talking about is the fact that how much contract distilling they're doing. And a lot of those contracts that they were doing this distilling for, a lot of these brands got cut off once Campari came in and bought them. So what does that mean? That means that those brands might have to go to other distilleries to get different whiskey. So does that mean Bardstown Bourbon Company? Does it mean Green River? Does that mean elsewhere? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of those brands that were sourcing or contract distilling from different distilleries as well. But I think the whole 6-year, 7-year, 8-year MGP bourbon craze, everyone kind of going crazy for that. I think that's going to make way for more affordable whiskey brands that are coming into the market. So Green River being one of them. Obviously, Bardstown Bourbon Company with the Origin series. You have who else? I mean, even if you talk about, to go back to Ryan and Kenny, Pursuit United using some different distillate from around the country. I think those are going to be more the norm than just people ponying up to buy $80, $100, 5 to 6 year MGP. I think there's just so much of it on the market that I don't know. You tell me in the chat, are you kind of getting sick of all the MGP? Do you guys still want it? Or it really depends on the offering in the barrel? I mean, let me hear it from you guys. I think we will see a lot more small barrel startups. Okay. CYPB was a bunch of BS, says JH. I hope Wilderness Trail gets more great products out there. Are you optimistic about the future for whiskey? Absolutely. It's your neighbor. I still think that American whiskey is in a trajectory going up. It's still selling. There's new people getting into it. What I wish that what people would do is get a little bit more educated, because I feel like all they hear is Buffalo Trace, Pappy, BTAC, and that's all people know when they first get into it. There's so many good brands out there, and with all the bottles and the influx of so many different brands out there, if you're wanting to get into whiskey, you have to get educated, whether it be through YouTube, magazines, go to tastings, go to friends' houses that have a lot of whiskey, whatever it is you need to do to educate yourself on your palate before you just go blindly chasing Buffalo Trace products all day long. That's what I think the new whiskey drinker needs to do. Love me some more MGP. I really shy away from MGP source unless it's old. More Lucky 7, no more MGP. Willing, Dickel barrels. Penelope killing it right now. Yeah. I mean, I heard, so if you watched that roundtable on Bourbon Pursuit, that was Penelope was one of the brands being tossed around as the next one to be bought. Fred Minnick has been talking about Four Roses being bought for years. Hasn't happened yet. But Penelope could be in the mix. I mean, people talk about Sagamore. Brian Tracy, if you're watching, please don't sell. We love you the way you are. Do not sell to anybody. I mean, you never know with some of these brands what could happen. But I think Penelope was kind of the big topic of conversation as to what could be bought up next when it comes from a blender. So we'll see what happens. I feel like we're heading towards another prohibition, more covert though. Minik had a good take on it. I've been noticing it as well. I think there's definitely a more push for dry bars, kind of getting away from whiskey. This is something, whiskey tubers are kind of scared of happening with YouTube. You kind of talk about the healthcare organization, the World Healthcare Organization talking about whiskey and how bad it is for you. That could have some trickle-down effect, but that's kind of a time will tell thing. All right. Lastly here, the end of toasted and Amburana finishes for 2023. We'll still see some trickle out, but after 2023, it's over. No more toasted, no more Amburanas. Bye-bye. We loved you. You were here. We got to move on to something else. All right? What I think is going to happen for 2023, or at least maybe the second half, more Mizunara. I think people are going to get more into the Mizunara game. More cigar blends. I think everybody wants to do a cigar blend now. They're going to see more from different brands. Unique aging, so different types of cask maturation, and ultimately more beer finishes. I think we're going to see more stout finishes, more porter finishes, more IPA finishes from different brands as well. So that's where I think it's going when it comes to finishes. But toasted and Amburana need to go bye-byes. Just saying. Night-night. Night-night. I've had it. It's good. We loved you while you were here. I'm over it already. All right. Bottle predictions. Bottles we all want, but haven't had. Ready for this? While I'm doing that, I'm going to pour this quick blind here from Big Vic. EDCBA. Perfect. All right. These are bottles that I know people have wanted for ages, and that I'm hoping comes back in 2023. Most of them won't. Probably all of them won't. But I'm gonna ask for them. Number one, Booker's Rye comes back. Booker's Rye. There was a rumor that Booker's Rye was supposed to come back in 2022. Never did. So I would love to see another Booker's Rye hit the market. Not that most people would be able to get one. Could you imagine just the anarchy of a new Booker's Rye hitting the market and what people will sell that for? Even though I don't think it could possibly be as good as the first one, but could you imagine oh my God, the frenzy for that bottle would be insane. Would be absolutely insane. So yeah, Booker's Rye. Even though it will be insane, I want it to come back. I don't know. There's something about it. I think it deserves to come back. Second, Booker's single barrels go mainstream. Now, Booker's did release a single barrel for charity, and I think it did really well, but I want that shit to go mainstream. Give me Booker's single barrels for the world. Let's do it for 2023. Third, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Rye. So one thing I just learned when I was at Heaven Hill, all the rye whiskeys at Heaven Hill are aged on the 4th rick and up. So you get a little bit more heavier maturation, a lot more of the humidity kind of affecting the barrels, higher evaporation, more flavor, more alcohol. I learned that Elijah Craig is actually the oldest rye they have. Rittenhouse is 4. Pikesville is 6. Elijah Craig rye is like 8 years old, but it's only like 94 proof. I think it's a blend of a couple different ages, but give me a barrel-proof version of that, guys. Come on, Heaven Hill. I want a barrel-proof Elijah Craig rye. Come on. It's got to happen. Let's bring it. Next, this will never happen, but I like to say it. I like to think about it. The return of really cool decanters. Come on. Why haven't these come back yet? I want more decanters. I want decanters to come back. Come on, pop culture decanters. Who wouldn't want like a Game of Thrones fucking dragon decanter with like 8-year-old bourbon in it. Don't tell me that would not sell the shit out of some whiskey. Come on. Decanters, let's do it. Let's bring them back. Let's do a little pop culture here. Come on, Ted Lasso decanter. Let's do it. We got to have it. I mean, shit. What about like a Star Wars decanter that like you hit a button and the fucking lightsaber goes on, but then you twist off Darth Vader's head and you drink some like 8-year-old whiskey? This is genius. People should be, come on, listen to this shit. Yeah, you got to get licensing from Disney and all that shit, but come on, give it to me. I want it. All right, next, age-stated maker's mark. I want an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year age-stated maker's mark immediately. Give it to me. We're not going to get it because maker's mark are so hell-bent on their flavor vision. It's a term that they use all the time, but I just don't think it'll ever happen. I know Fred Minnick has been preaching this forever. He said he tried a maker's mark that was 12 years old, and it was one of the best whiskeys he ever had. But that is something I think that needs to happen. Enough with the wood finishing series. Enough with the private selects. All right, we get it. You guys know how to use your wood. We get it. What we want is a high age stated cast strength maker's mark release. Let's see it for 2023. Old fits. I just did the 19-year. I think 2023 we're going to see our first 20 plus year old fits in a decanter. Maybe it'll happen. I said in the review, we've kind of hit every single, they're going to run out of numbers eventually. So are you going to finally get into the 20s at some point? Or are you just going to start re-releasing the same age statements? So we'll see what happens with that. Woodford Reserve double oaked cask strength. Come on, Woodford. Enough with the 90.4 proof variants. Your cask strength, your batch proof was good this year, or good last year, I should say, 2022. Give me a double oaked cask strength bottling right now. Give me a cask strength double oaked. I don't care what it is. Give us what we want. Give us a double oaked cask strength whiskey. I'm sorry, double oaked cask strength bourbon. Please. Everybody in this chat would be fucking lining up to get one of those to try it. One can only dream, but we probably won't get it. And lastly, what I love to always guess, and I'll kind of go to the chat here. Everybody loves to guess what the next release of the Colonel Taylor is going to be. The next Colonel Taylor release. What it could be. So this year, actually, I haven't even seen it yet. The Colonel Taylor Barrel Proof Rye. The year before, what was the bullshit Warehouse C? We had the 18-year marriage, which was really good. We had the Tornado Survivor. We had the 4-grain. Whatever. You had a bunch of different variants. So everyone tries to guess what's the next one going to be. My guess for the Colonel, and you guys let me know in the chat, if you could guess what a Colonel Taylor going to be, what the next release is going to be for the Colonel Taylor limited releases, I'm saying it's going to be a Burai. That's where I'm going. I think the next Colonel Taylor release will be a blend of cask strength, Colonel Taylor with cask strength, with their cask strength rye blended together as their next release. I'm not saying anyone's going to get one, but I'm saying that's what the next release is going to be. You guys let me know in the chat. Warehouse Marriage, Tornado Part 2, 2023 Termite Survivor. Wade Ward, yeah, these are both suggestions and predictions. I think there's kind of like a little bit of both here, for sure. E.H. Taylor COVID release. Oh, I love it so much. This year will be aged in the employee's restroom. There you go. EHT Malt. That's a good one. That's kind of a good one. E.H. Taylor Burai, agree. I think it's going to be a Burai, guys. I think the next one we're going to see is a Burai. I was going to say something E.H. Taylor Rye. Yeah, they already kind of did the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof Rye, Brent, but not many people have seen that one. I agree on that maker statement. I hope so. Hey, Rare Bird 101's in the house. I'm sure they were different barrels. Just wasn't my jam. I'm not sure what they're talking about. EHT Quarantine, 15 year, 110 proof, says Eric Sawyer. I mean, it could just be something of a bigger age statement. You never know. Starlight has a double O cask strength available. Yeah, they do, but Woodford Reserve is kind of looked on as like the beacon of double oaked bourbon. Like everyone kind of looks to that one. So it'd be interesting if they did a double oak that cask strength from Woodford. I think it'd be pretty cool. But I think a lot of people have been asking for that one, and they just haven't. It hasn't come through. Warehouse C Summer Survivor. Battle fell over E.H. Taylor. Jack Daniel's special release guest. I think 2024 will be a pecan finish. The Distillery Series pecan is banging. Could be. I could see that being a big. Oh, another one. What it could be. Do you guys remember hearing the story last year when Buffalo Trace uncovered like an old like World War II bomb on their property? It could be a bomb survivor. Never know. That could happen. What does a Jason Rant decanter look like? I don't know. Probably like me with like my arms flailing everywhere, and like the arms can move. Like it's got like springs on the arms, and they just go like that. I think that's what it does. Jason, got to go for the night. Don't forget. Oh, I'll do that, JC. I'll do that, man, for sure for you. All right. Think they'll do a Burai? E.H. Taylor Houdini because you'll never see it in the store anyway. Oh, that's a good one, Brad. Just call it the Houdini because it's a ghost. EH aged in the coffin. Oh my God, could you imagine? All right, let's get into Big Vic's blind here. I'm gonna taste through these. I'm gonna try to guess them. I think. Try to guess what I think they are. Probably get them wrong, but let's see how I do here. Especially after ranting for the last like 20 minutes. But yeah, here we go. So if you guys have not watched Big Vic's Backyard Bullshit, please subscribe to Big Vic. Yeah, I need a Grinch decanter for sure. I definitely need that for Christmas. Like, you know what? If I got a Grinch decanter, I would fill that with Wild Turkey 101 rye, because that is like the perfect Christmas whiskey. Jason's decanter is shaped like a whole piece of prosciutto. I am not against that, Cohen. Jason's Rant decanter is a Blue Run bottle and an extra large butterfly. It could be. Man, this is nice. I'm getting some rye vibes here. Is this a rye? Let me try it here. I don't know if I could ever guess what rye it is, but I'm guessing that's a rye whiskey. That's nice. It's very citrusy. It's savory. Man, that's good. What's up, Terrence? Nice to see you, man. Bourbon Wrench in the house. What is going on? Nice to see you as always. There's something very sweet to this one. 2023 E.H. Taylor hemp cask finish. Oh, God. Oh, God, that sounds awful. Yeah, that's definitely a rye. It's definitely a sweeter rye. I couldn't tell you what rye it is, but I'm just going to say that's a rye whiskey. I don't know what rye that is, but it's very, very sweet. I mean, maybe to the point where it has a little bit of a finish on it. I'm not really sure. There's some fruitiness to it. Getting some dark fruit on there. It's a little bit drying on the palate, too. It's very drying. It's kind of sucking the moisture out of the back of my palate here. CBD bourbon will become a thing. I could see that happening. All right, second one here. Ooh, all right, this is more bourbony on the nose. That actually comes off kind of malty to me. Maybe it's because I'm coming off the rye, but either there's like a high malt type of mash bill in that, or it's just coming off malty, maybe a little chocolatey. See how I do, guys, here. Everybody, let's see. Is this a budget blind or no? I have no idea what's in this blind, Mike. Big Vic sent this to me. He's like, here you go, buddy. So I'm going to see, coming off that budget blind, if I can see how I do with guessing any of these. I'm definitely putting my money that the first one is a rye. I might go as far as to say that's a finished rye whiskey. Finished. I don't know brand. I don't know whatever it could be, but I think that's a finished rye. This one, on the other hand, what's up, Bourbon Ranch? Nice to see you, man. Jeffrey Wack knows what's in this blind. Seriously? Okay, that's cool. All right, I kind of take back the malty factor. I'm not really getting any malt anymore in the second one. This is just coming off really just a nice balanced bourbon. Not really sure. What's up, Jason? Is the Old Fitz decanter worth the hunt in the price considering the rise of Larceny Barrel Proof in 2022? No, because remember, even Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, I don't think Larceny Barrel Proof is going to get to a point where it's going to overtake the Old Fitz. Remember, Larceny does not come in that fancy, beautiful decanter, and I think that's the big difference. Larceny had a good year in 2022. Hopefully it continues, but you just never know with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I mean, what was it, 2021 or 2020? Were like they were not good batches, I think, on both sides of that. So I think it's just really going to be a year-to-year thing. I would not overpay for the Old Fitz 19, to be honest. It's good. I don't think it's great. I mean, if you could get it at retail, great. But I would not pay upwards of $1,000 to get that bottle by any means. I mean, honestly, just go buy the Knob Creek 18. It's like $200. Getting this unique combination of like maple and ginger on the second one. That's really good, whatever it is. I want my crunch berries. Open to Calumet 16, Matt Porter's top whiskey of the year. Yeah, Matt named Calumet 16. I could see that because it's a damn good bourbon and it's also very affordable for sure. Yep. All right. Let me take a sip of water here. So 489 people. Guys, please hit the like button. I'm still trying to hopefully get to 75,000 subscribers. Hopefully by next week. We'll see what happens. Maybe have a little bit of a celebration. I don't know if I'll get 500. It's a little less than 500 in time. But please share the channel to all your whiskey friends and, help me get to that mark. Really appreciate everybody for hanging out tonight and, just trying some good whiskey, talking good whiskey. Let's go to the third one here. Oh, the third one. Number 3, letter C. All good in Surf City. OESK from Tier 1 was the hitter for me. Tier 1, you say, J-Max. J-Max, what was the proof on that Tier 1 OESK? I'm curious. Was it like just over 100? Did it get to 110? What was it? That's good. I'm sipping Nelson Brothers. Hey, what's up, Lily? Lily is my favorite bulldog. Look at her. Look at that beautifulness. Like that. Love it. Who does number 3 work for? I didn't write it down. I'm guessing under 110. Take care, Terrence. I think that's a turkey. It tastes like turkey to me. But there's also a nuttiness to it. Maybe it's Heaven Hill. There's a very sweet nuttiness to this one. Also, it's pretty oak forward as well in that third one. I'll have to go back and revisit that one, but I'm kind of like leaning toward either Turkey or maybe Beam a little bit on that one. I'm sorry, Turkey or Heaven Hill on that third one. All right, number 4. Oh, I'm sipping Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof. Don't hate, Mike. That's fucking delicious. That stuff. Oh, that's good. That's really delicious. I still think people sleep on Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof, to be honest. I think so. I mean, there was a good shortage of it. You couldn't really find it too easily for a little while. Second sip, this one got a little bit more boring. It's sweet. It's very sweet. A lot of kind of cherry to it, like that Swedish fish candy cherry to it. But I mean, not much of a finish on it. Yeah, coming off number 3, this one is really tame. I mean, it's got like an interesting finish to it, but on the palate, coming off number 3, even number 2, this one is meh. That's my professional tasting term. Meh. Yeah, that's boring. That's doing nothing for me, Big Vic. I know what you sent me, but I'm not crazy about it. It's good. But if that's some like expensive single barrel thing, I think some of these budget ones are even better. I agree on better decanters. Look how well Blanton's is doing. It's the bottle. Also would love to see better cork tops like Old Elk and Blanton's. What do you guys think in the chat? You guys want to go to... I mean, I've heard some pretty good arguments for going to all screw tops instead of corks. What do you guys think? If you go to screw tops, does it cheapen the experience for you? Or does it not matter? Is it all about the whiskey in the bottle? I'm just curious to get your take, because I think people, when they see a screw top, it's automatically programmed in their mind that it's a cheaper whiskey rather than something with a cork. But the synthetic corks, and even Bardstown Bourbon Company moving from the heavy cork to the cheaper cork, a lot of that has been going on. So, like there is some, like Old Fitz decanter. I could not imagine that with a screw top. Obviously, I'm talking about like if you had, say, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof came in with a screw top. Would it change your mind about Elijah Craig Barrel Proof? It was still a 12-year uncut, unfiltered whiskey, uncut, unfiltered bourbon for $50 to $60. Would that change your mind if it had a screw top? What do you think? Really don't like screw tops. I want the pop. Corks for sure. I like the slight elegance of cork, but synthetic and screw tops are the new wave. I agree, Durrell. Plug it, don't screw it. Cork. Screw tops doesn't matter. It's all about the flavors in the whiskey. I want my cork pop. Kino says I'm having the M&J 4-gate filler Ambiorani Yamazaki 12. Oh my god! In Westward, that's 6, and you already had 12 ounces. Oh my gosh! Yep, that's about right, man. We like the cork. It's about the cork pops. There's nothing better than hearing that cork pop when you're opening the bottle. Screw tops do feel cheap. I agree with you on better decanters. Look how well. Yeah, I agree, Custom. Yep. I don't go to church, but I follow this channel religiously. Thank you so much, Mike. All right, last one here. Oh my gosh. Oh, Vic. I know what you put in here. I remember. Vic, is this the same thing? I could smell it immediately. This is chocolate malty. This is like Nesquik malt in a glass, like the powdered Nesquik shit. Okay, I'm gonna try this here. So Big Vic did a blind tasting for the with Jeffrey Wack, Darrell Stewart, Kelsey Dime, the Hello Again Whiskey Friends channel. I jumped on just to see what the results were, and I remember him putting in there a Balcones rye that was just pure chocolate malt in it, and I think that's what he put in this blind. I think that's about. I'm calling it right now, dude. That is the Bal. Unless you found some other crazy, chocolatey, weird whiskey, that's got to be that Texas Balcones chocolate rye shit that you threw in this blind. It is unmistakable to me. Unmistakable. Oh my God. That's got to be what it is. If it's not that, then it's some other weird Texas malty rye. Yeah. But I'm calling it David Base. I'm calling it. That is the Balcones chocolate malt. Freaking Big Vic tried to sneak that shit through in the blind he did. I think he gave it to me. I'm telling you. Yeah, this is what people want. People want to hear this shit. Come on, that is one of the most beautiful sounds ever, right? That's what you want to hear. All right, so if I had to rank these, Big Vic says, "Nice call, buddy." I'm right. Is that what it is? That's got to be what it is. All right, so this one I thought was a rye. I'm saying it's a finished rye because it's a very fruit forward rye. It's drying me out a little bit. I'm saying that's a rye. I don't know what rye it is. This one I'm not sure. The second one. I mean, that one's really tough. I mean, it drinks really easy coming off the first one. No idea what this one is. The third one I said could be the Wild Turkey, maybe Heaven Hill. Oh, but I like it. Whatever it is. This one here. Yeah, this one didn't do it for me. It was very easy, very sweet. Not much going on top of that. And then this was the freaking Balcones. I'm just saying. All right. I'm going to download his key. I'm not going to look at it yet. Let me get into my email here. Let me download it. And I'm actually going to throw it up here on screen for you guys. And you could see how wrong or if I was kind of right. We'll see what happens here. All right. Let's go. I think that's it. All right. Have not seen these. Let's go to Big Vic's key. Guys, ready for this? Here it is. Blind Flight. A. What does that say? High West Double Rye Pick, finished in Amontillado Spanish wine for a. What did I say? I said a finished rye whiskey. I get 10.5 gold stars for calling that. Absolutely. Come on. Give it to me. That one, okay. I call that one. Second one, I wasn't really sure. B was Tumbling Dice, 6-year pick. 115 proof. 60. Oh, that's an MGP, 36% rye. That is surprising. I would not have pegged that as a 36% rye bourbon at all. That actually drinks, you know what? The proof drinks about that. But if you that does not drink like a 36% rye. That drinks real easy to be a 36% rye, for sure. 100. Oh, it was 106 proof on that OESK. That makes sense being a tier 1. Yeah, Tumbling Dice makes some good shit. Again, we're talking about MGP again. All right, let's go to the next one. So the third one I really like. This one I said I thought could be either be Wild Turkey, maybe Heaven Hill, and it is. Are you shitting me? It's the Russell Reserve. Look at the birdie pick. Wow, This one tastes very different, yours, than what I remember, Vic. It's way more of like a peanut butter note on it than I remember having. That's crazy. So that was turkey rather than Heaven Hill. There was a very distinct nuttiness to it that I really thought was Heaven Hill. I thought it could be turkey. So, all right, I'll give myself like half a point for that one. All right, let's go to D. This one I was not crazy about. This says, what the hell does that say? Trader Joe's bourbon. This was Buffalo Trace, 125. No wonder why I wasn't crazy about it. It had no finish. It has no finish to it. But yeah, it is super sweet. I could see this being Buffalo Trace. The cherry, the ease of sipping. I could see that being Buffalo Trace. And then the last one has to be that friggin' Balcones. It is. Balcones, rye cast strength, Mexican chocolate. That's exactly what it tastes like. All right. There you go. That was the blind flight from Big Vic. Dude, thank you so much for sending that along. I don't think I did I think I did pretty good on that blind tasting. Not too bad. Nothing. It's also about the cork pop experience. Nothing exciting about unscrewing a bottle cheapens the experience, especially with a group of friends. That's true. Would love to try the High West pick. I had the High West American Prairie Bourbon finished in Amontillado for 8 months. Very good. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what. Oh no, this is a double rye, not the bourbon in the Amontillado. So, yeah, love it. All right, you know what? I was gonna do that Larceny versus Elijah Craig, but those bottles are all the way over there now that I think about, because I was doing my blind tasting. So I think I'm just gonna call it a night here tonight, and I might do that on a double base matchup, which might be even funner to do, more funner to do. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for hanging out tonight and watching. We had a shit ton of people in the chat tonight. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe, like the video before you get out of here. Go check out Women of Whiskeys, who is going live next right after me. Patrons, if you're hanging out right now, I'm going to be doing an after live stream tonight following this live stream. So hope to see you there. Man, next week, we have a couple more blinds that were submitted from some viewers. We'll see if I do a little bit better on that end. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Guys, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the support. Time to get 2023 started. Be on the lookout for my top bourbons of the year. We'll see what comes out on top. Cheers. Love you all. See you next time right here, Wednesday night, same bat time, same bat channel, Mash and Drum. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Cheers.